Hello, welcome to another Quinn's Tech Corner video. Today we're going to be having a look at my new setup, which is now behind me. All of the Macs that are there, what I use them for, if I do even use them for anything. It's just going to be a quick tour and a bit of a poke around on each. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, so what have we got? Here I have the iMac G3 Indigo, I have the iMac G5, the iMac G4, which you guys haven't seen on this channel yet. For those of you with a keen eye, in between here we've got the 2014 Mac Mini, and then we also have a 2009 Mac Mini hiding away on that shelf there. The two Mac Minis are already on, but let's have a listen to a few Apple bongs, shall we? So many bongs. Unfortunately I can't start the iBook G4 at the moment because the battery is dead and I don't currently have a free socket to plug it into. So there is the setup and I think it looks pretty damn cool. So starting on the left here we have the iMac G4. If we go to Apple, about this Mac, we can see that it's running macOS version 10.4, that's Tiger. It's got the 800MHz PowerPC G4 chip with half a gig of RAM. The drive in this machine is also partitioned into two, with Tiger being on the main part and then just blank space for the second partition. I'm strongly considering installing macOS 9 onto here. That way we get a dual boot between Tiger and OS 9. Maybe I split this partition even further and we get a triple boot of something. I've always loved these Macs, I think they're fantastic to look at, and this one's running pretty nicely. I picked this up for 40 Australian dollars. It didn't come with a power supply and I didn't even know if it worked, but luckily it did. Given that this is the 800MHz model and we've got the old iMac font here, you can be safe in saying that this is maybe a 2003, 2002 model. And for some of you who are really intimate with macOS, you might have realised that I'm running the Panther aqua blue wallpaper there, despite the fact that it's Tiger. I've got a soft spot for Panther because it was the first macOS I ever used. My family was a Windows house before that. As for what I use this thing for, you can see it's a very fresh install. There's absolutely nothing on here. I've only just installed Tiger onto it. I don't know what my plans are for this yet. I really want a pair of those Harman Kardon speakers. I used to own a pair of those when I lived in the UK with my 17-inch iMac G4. They were fantastic speakers and I really loved listening to music through it, so maybe it'll be a dedicated jukebox kind of thing. And if I install macOS 9 on it, I can definitely get some video output on this machine and do proper screen recording. That way I'll be able to do proper macOS 9 videos for you guys. Moving slightly up here, we have the Mac Mini 2009. We got this little cat keeping guard here, but this machine is my file server. You definitely can't see, but there's two hard disks hidden behind this iSight box. I've mounted them to the wall with Velcro. They're both 1TB, and one drive is used for the actual server, where you can access and drop files and things, and the second one is a time machine backup of the entire system plus the server drive. I absolutely love having a home server and they're just so handy. It's only got USB 2 and it's connected to Wi-Fi, so it's a bit slow, but I love it and I've never really had a problem with it. That's running headless with macOS El Capitan, which I believe is OS 10.11. Across the iMac G5, this is a 20-inch model. I absolutely love this thing. I paid 20 Australian dollars for it, so yeah, what a steal. And could you believe my luck when I got to the seller's house and it was one of the top-end models, 2GHz PowerPC G5. It came with 512 megs. I upgraded it to 2 gigs of RAM, and we're running macOS 10.5.9, which is Sorbet Leopard, an unofficial release, and it's running fantastic. This is what I like to call my digital life iMac. I sync my iPod Classic with it, so I've got a few bits and pieces in iTunes at the moment. I still need to expand this collection though. I've even got Minecraft PowerPC Edition down here. It does run, not very well, but it's possible if you really want to put yourself through that. I've got a PowerPC build of Discord, and if you use Discord, why not join my Discord server? Link in the description down below. We talk about all this kind of stuff. I've also got this beautiful iSight camera. I paid 70 Australian dollars for this, which I think is worth it. It came with all the accessories, original cables, original box, and it is in absolutely flawless condition. Unfortunately, I can't put that on the top of the iMac because the shelf above blocks it, but it's there and I've used it a few times. I've not done much with it, but I just love having it in the collection. I've also played a few games on this Mac as well, given that it's got the best graphics card in any PowerPC Mac I own. Between the iMac G5 and iMac G3, we've got the 2014 Mac Mini. This is currently switched on. It's running headless, Windows 10, I know, shock horror, but I'm running a Valheim and Minecraft game server on there. There's also an installation of macOS Monterey on there, which you may have seen me do in my previous video. I love this little machine. It's really quiet. I love the design, always have. It's a great addition. Here we have the iMac G3. It's a bit of a pain to film given it's got the CRT display, but I absolutely love this machine. It's the only one I've got at the moment running Mac OS 9. It's really fun to have a mess around in this operating system. I can't actually remember the clock speed on this thing, so I'm just going to go up to the Apple menu there and Apple System Profiler. And you might be able to see there the clock speed is 350 megahertz. It's the PowerPC G3, and we've got half a gigabyte of memory. This machine's purpose is purely for me to poke around in Mac OS 9. I've got Classilla here, which allows me to browse the web. I'm not sure if it's currently connected to the internet, but here it is anyway. This is a fork of old Firefox for Mac OS 9, and it actually runs surprisingly well when you use a site that's not cluttered with ads and ridiculous scripts. So something nice and text-based like this, which is how the web is meant to be. I also have really old versions of Microsoft Office and Photoshop on this machine, so Photoshop 7 and also Microsoft Office 98. I've got an instant messaging client which I can connect to Discord, which is really cool, and also an old version of iTunes as well. I actually made this horrific desktop wallpaper in the Photoshop 7 application on this machine, and it was a pleasure to do. Really easy. But now that I'm looking at this, I'm definitely going to change that. I cannot bear to look at it anymore. macOS default, what is that? Ah, that's the smiley finder. There he is, look at his face. On this shelf we have the iBook G4 and PowerBook G4. Both of the batteries are actually dead now. This one has just given up the ghost, so I'll grab my power adapter, I'll plug them in and take you around these ones as well. Here's the PowerBook G4. This is the 12-inch model, so I'll just log in here. Let's go to Apple, about this Mac, and you can see there it's also running the version 10.5.9. that's Sorbet Leopard, which is the unofficial release. You may have seen one of my previous videos where I installed that on here. We've got a 1.33 GHz PowerPC G4 with 1.25 gigabytes of memory. I've owned this thing for ages. I paid £60 British for it when I lived back in the UK. That'll be around 100 Australian dollars. Since owning it, I've also replaced the keyboard entirely, replaced the DC in board, replaced the DC to DC board, which lives down here under the trackpad somewhere, installed an SSD, and replaced the battery. So this little laptop is fully functional. I also have a spare DC to DC board because those things fail. I use this machine for super light web browsing when I'm in a PowerPC and also a couch sitting mood. Sorbet Leopard, the unofficial release, really helps these old machines. And again, it's still completely possible to browse those lighter websites. So here's the iBook G4. It's running macOS version 10.4.11 Tiger. We've got a 1.42 GHz PowerPC G4 and 1.5 gigs of RAM. So this is slightly better spec than the PowerBook, which is odd because this was meant to be the consumer product and the PowerBook was meant to be pro. This machine is almost like my childhood nostalgia machine. An iBook G4 was the first Apple laptop I ever came into contact with, and as a kid I liked to play on Midnight Mansion, Kid Pix, and Fish Tycoon. There are a whole heap of other Mac games that I also like to play that I haven't installed on here yet. I've got some raw video of me installing Tiger on this machine, but I just didn't think it was very interesting, and so I never put it out. Similar story with the PowerBook. You can connect to the web on it, it can be a web browser, but this model in particular doesn't charge. The battery's dead, I'm assuming. Either that, which is what I hope it is, or some other internal part is broken. Again, you'll notice I have the Panther Aqua Blue here. I have had Leopard on here before. It didn't run poorly or anything like that. I just thought I would downgrade to Tiger. I like having a nice range of operating systems across my Macs. I'm almost sure this is 14-inch. It's definitely not 12, so yeah, it's going to be 14. Someone might have to correct me on that. A reoccurring thing that I notice with these Mac notebooks is that the screens are a bit dim. I'm not sure if that's a problem. They do take a while to kind of warm up, but even then they don't get very bright. So there you go, that is all of the Macs on this setup. I do have a few other Macs in the house, including the M1 MacBook Pro, which is fantastic by the way. That's what I edit all my videos on. I also have a 2010 MacBook, the white one. There's no battery or drive in it, but it's very intact and I could do something with it. I also have a broken 2007 Mac Mini, very similar to the one that's sitting up there. I repasted it once and it was absolutely fine, but the temperatures didn't seem to get better, so I tried to repaste it again and it didn't survive. No idea why. I also have a Power Mac G4, one of the big towers, a Quicksilver, dual 800 megahertz. Not sure what I'm going to do with that yet either. My partner also has a 2013 MacBook Air, so many Macs in this house. Oh dear. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, why not consider subscribing and leave a like on the video. You can also join my Discord server where we talk about all this kind of stuff. Link down in the description below as well. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.